Hello everyone. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to Face, Card Making Space, and we're live. Live, unscripted, unfiltered, unedited. Chaos. Welcome to the chaos, as usual. And yeah, the unpaid interns sitting in the corner to help, and I have a plan. Should work. Everything should work. I actually did some prep work for once. Who'da thunk? Who'da thunk? Okay. So yeah, hello everybody. Hello. I don't have any other housekeeping or anything. Yeah.
Let's get to the
Yeah.
crafting.
We're gonna make some things and muck around, do a bunch of splatter. You know, same old, same old. And then yeah, this week I'll have plenty of videos coming as per usual. So let's just like jump right into it because as usual, the minute it actually officially goes live, my brain just goes. It is what it is. It is what it is. But anywho, we're actually going to do a little bit of a repeat. I don't even know where I put the previous card. I already posted a card this week using some of the same supplies. I'm going to mix it up a little bit, mix up the colors, but do something sort of similar, but this time live. So we can like chat about the reasonings and all the things while I do it. So first off, I didn't realize I was zoomed in so much. So let's just zoom out a teeny little bit. Okay. So I'm going to use, let me move some things over because I don't need those till later. I need that. So earlier this week, I did a video using this, and I said in that video, it's called the Pepita background. And I don't know why. I hear minions in my head with that. And it's like, Pepita. Anyway, pepitas are actually pumpkin seeds. I knew that. And generally, a Pepita background in terms of cloth or fabric is houndstooth. Who knows? But that's what this is called, and I'm fine with it. It's pretty. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use the CZ Design Thank You Basics, possibly. I think I'm going to add like a sub-sentiment. And then this time, I'm going to use the Snowbell Bouquet wafer dies. Probably still going to bring in some pretty poppies, because how can you not? How can you not, you know? And then, yeah, oldie but goodie, oldie but goodie, oldie but goodie, oldie but goodie, somewhat oldie but goodie, you know? We'll get into it all. But first, we need to do our background. And I saw that is SSS Set making their background stamps from photopolymer now instead of red rubber. I think so. That's what I think, is that they're going with just photopolymer, which honestly, I'm fine with. I'm fine with it. Don't really have any complaints there. I'll never not love my red rubber stamps and red rubber backgrounds, but they both work. They both work. So we're going to do sort of the same thing, just different colors with this background. So I've got, this is just Canson XL watercolor paper and my background, which I'm just going to use face up because I don't want it to be perfect. In fact, I'm going to go out of my way to make it less perfect because we want texture. We want the texture. So I'm like, no, I don't even know what I'm doing because I've got things like already planned, piled up, and then I forget that I put it here, and then I'm looking for it everywhere else. Anyway, so Canson XL watercolor paper. Honestly, with something like this, I don't think it really matters what kind of watercolor paper you use, but this stuff's my kind of go-to. It's cheap and it works and I like it. So, anti-static powder tool, stamp, face up. If you don't want it like sliding around, we can like take it right off the backing and like stick it to the work surface, but I don't care. I don't care. And then clear embossing ink. I've already got schmutz on it, but again, don't really care. It's not, none of that's gonna matter. And more schmutz. Whatever. Whatever. No, you can't have too many butterflies. I was digging through my stash of butterfly wafer dies. I have so many. I have so many, and then I added a couple more to my cart. Because they're pretty. And I didn't realize I didn't have a couple of them. So anyway. But yeah, both of the ones I use are oldie but goodies, and we'll get to that later. But for now, clear embossing ink. We'll just flip this over. I don't even really care if it's like straight. It doesn't matter. And then just kind of go like that. Good enough. Because again, I don't need it to stamp perfectly. I don't want it to stamp perfectly. And then I'm going to put white embossing powder on this. So, sprinkle that on. Tap off the excess. And then just keep repeating until I get all of it. Missed a chunk there. Again, don't really care. In fact, I'm going to purposely mess up a little bit more of this. And I mentioned this in the previous video I did, but I'm going to hold this over my garbage can. So I'll hold it right there, and I'm going to flick the back of it really, really hard. So that's going to knock off a bunch of the, not a bunch, but more of the embossing powder. Yes. Maybe again. And then, just to be a little extra ornery, I'll even just use my finger and kind of mess it up a bit. The center isn't going to matter because we're not going to see it when I layer on the elements to finish this off. Good enough. And then we just got to melt it. Okay. So, because it's watercolor paper, this needs to heat up a bit. It takes a little bit longer than regular cardstock versus watercolor paper because thicker substance takes longer for the heat to pass through. Oh yeah, you guys can see it melt. Love it. Okay. You tilt it in the light. Oh, there's one little spot I missed. You always tilt it back and forth in the light. When it's smooth and shiny, it means it's melted. And yes, don't ask me why. I always and will never get tired of watching embossing powder melt. It'll never get old. Okay, so we did that. And then we're going to do super simple watercolor. Like, beyond simple, really. Using water reactive inks. So I'm going to use Simon Says Stamp's Positively Saturated inks, Distress inks work, Distress Oxide inks work, Concord and 9th inks work, Altenew's Fresh Dye inks work. Those are all water reactive inks. They just vary in how they react with water, but all of them you can use, and I've used in videos, to like watercolor with, to watercolor, ink blend, stamp, all the things, you know? So I'm going to use that color, which is Dew. I want to add a bit of, we'll see. I'm going to add a bit of green too. Why not? Why not? So we'll use, this is dark, which is Field. We could go from the green to the blue, maybe. That could work. Maybe a little bit of yellow. I was going to use yellow on one of the flowers, but let's add a little bit of butter, and then we'll just see. Butter. So yeah, smush it onto a non-porous surface. Is there a way to watercolor over a stencil using watercolors? You can. You have to be really, really careful in controlling your water if you're doing it over a stencil. Because if you're trying to watercolor over a stencil, if your brush is too wet, etc., it just seeps under the stencil. I've tried it only once so far, and it was just an absolute hot mess. So I was like, no. But it's because you need to have patience. And then you need to very much control your water. It depends on the watercolor paper you're using. It can help to spray your stencil with like pixie spray to really get the stencil to stick. But it can be done. Dawn Wolfslagel, her channel's Dawn+9, did a video, I think it was last year. Where she watercolored over a stencil. And it was either last year, maybe even the year before. It was a while ago. And I thought it was super cool. And yeah, I haven't mastered that technique. That's why I've never shown it. So it is just like butter, which is the color we'll start with because it's the lightest. You know, I generally make a point of starting with yellow because it's the lightest. It's the one that's easiest to get contaminated. And this type of watercolor, just like in the previous video, anyone can do this. This requires no technical skills. Like wet brush, swirl it in the ink, slap on background, you know? Really simple to do. Anybody can do this. So we'll add that in there. And then we'll add some of this green. And I'm not bothering to tape this down. It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. Let's get that on there. Just like that. Simple. And because this background was heat embossed, it resists the ink. And we'll add a bit more yellow. Yep. Drop in a bit more green. I am going to trim this down later when everything's like dry, because right now this panel's like 4.5 by 6 roughly, something like that. Where's my other cloth? There it is. Oh, before I knock anything over. Okay. Cloth off to the side to dry my brush off. And then I want to dry this because I do want to add some splatter with these inks. So I want this to be dry because if I add splatter while everything is still wet, it's just going to go and it's not going to show up as actual splatter, and that's not fun. Very spring colors. We just got a ton of snow yesterday. A little mini blizzard passed through. So fun. So fun. And then what I can do, there it is. I was like, where'd it go? Okay. So this spot is still wet. See, there's like puddles of color right there. I'm just gonna pick that up with the paper towel because, again, I don't want to sit here all day and dry it. Okay. It's dry enough. Now I need to move. I've got like my little stacks of die cuts. I need to move those out of the way so that I don't get splatter on those. They'll get splattered later, of course. But now, to actually add just a bit of splatter, because why not? Wet brush, add ink. add splatter. So we'll do some green. We'll mix up the blue. This will just add more texture. Like that. And then our crocuses have already passed. Now it's high. Oh, we still have like 5 feet of snow in front of our house. Okay, like, dude.
The crocus is so
Yeah,
far away.
the crocuses ain't nowhere. They're just not happening here. Okay, we got lots of snow, and we got more. That's just what we're dealing with. Okay. Anywho, just letting those layer and do their thing. And yeah, making a good old mess, but it's all water reactive ink, so that all will come off, which is what I'm going to clean up now before I get my elbow in it. There we go. Yay, Christy, you deserve an award. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Same with my palette. Just wipe it up. Like so. And then we're good to go. And we can move on. So let's wipe this up. Derp, derp. And then the only thing we have to remember is this needs to dry. And then once it's dry, I'm going to come back to this with a paper towel and I'm going to buff over this because any splotches and any ink sitting on top of the heat embossing isn't going to dry. Literally ever, because these are water-based dye inks, you know, they're not permanent, etc. So we'll come back to that and buff it off, but I need to let that dry. But there's our background. Again, simple. Anybody can do this. If watercoloring intimidates you, but you're curious about it, try things like this. Just muck around with some water-based inks and, you know, paint backgrounds. It doesn't even have to be heat embossed. You can just take some watercolor paper, you know, paint some backgrounds, let the color move, see what happens, add some splatter, you know, have fun with it. Have fun with it. Okay, so we got that. And then I need my grip mat. Get out a grip mat to hold on my little die cut pieces. So we'll let that sit. And then for my die cuts, which I showed this, but I've got this little Snowbell bouquet. And then, yeah, the pretty poppies. Again, I wasn't going to use them. And then I was like, but they're so cute and pretty. Why not? So I got those. And then this same thing, privet branch. I only die cut part of it. And then the butterflies, that comes later. Those are accessories. And I die cut all of these pieces. Ooh, and I already lost a stem. Get over here. Okay. I die cut all the pieces from like scraps of the Canson XL watercolor paper. So I'm going to stick them to my grip mat. They don't need to be like held, you know, firmly. I just need somewhere to line everything up so I can slap some ink onto them. And I purposely went with the watercolor paper because this watercolor paper will react a little more than just straight, you know, plain white cardstock, because I'm going to add water to the die cut pieces as well to, again, give texture. And I've done it with white cardstock. It works to a degree, but watercolor paper works more and the color lifts more. And you just get better results. So let's do all the stems and leafy bits first. And then we'll do the bloom pieces. So I'm just going to stick everything on here. I die cut the little Snowbell bouquet. I die cut that twice. That's why I have so many pieces, because I was like, my plan is to have a couple clusters of them. That's the plan. Like I said, I kind of have things planned out, sort of. We'll see. We'll see how this all works. It might be a like absolute hot mess disaster, but you never know. You never know. Let's make that one like that. I think these ones kind of go like that. Does this one really matter? I don't think it really matters, but okay, it goes like that. Okay. Okay, so then that one, oh, and 2 more pieces. All the little greenery bits, like so. This little dude. So yeah, I only die cut part just like I did last time. Ooh, and I missed one tiny little, there we go, bit. He'll probably just be filler. I might have to do a second one of him, but we'll see. We'll see. We're just going to slap some ink on, as we do. Move stuff out of the way. So, we're going to use, let's move this again. We'll come back to the flower bits. So I got Sprout ink first. Yeah. Literally just slap it on. This takes no skill. You don't need no experience. Don't need any practice. It's easy. So we'll just get ink on all these little pieces. It's 45 and raining in Illinois. Ugh. You guys just have to keep rubbing it in, don't you?
45 and rain would kind of suck, though.
A little bit. I forget, though, as always, what is 45 degrees Fahrenheit? What is that in Celsius?
Like 7 degrees.
Ooh, that is chilly.
And getting soaked at 7 degrees would be awful.
Yeah, it would kind of suck, but still, if it's 45 degrees, there's no snow. You know? I don't know, man. We got snow everywhere. That's all we got. It's all we got.
This week, though, it should be melting pretty good.
Yes. But again, it's still only March.
Yes.
Like, we are sick of winter. We're sick of snow. But it's Saskatchewan. And even though we got a mini blizzard yesterday, it isn't even April yet. And we generally get an April blizzard. So I'm trying not to get my hopes up. So yeah. Just is what it is. We don't put away the winter gear till like May.
Reluctantly.
Yeah. Because it's also just a rule. You don't put away the winter gear because the second you do, that's when we get another blizzard. Okay. Gonna keep slapping ink on all my little pieces here. And then we're going to add that same darker shade. I started with the lighter shade just to get color across everything. Again, doesn't need to be perfect. Because one, these inks do smooth out as they dry. But also, the imperfection just adds texture and interest to it all. "5 degrees Celsius in Michigan." Look, I'm not jealous, all right? I'm not jealous at all. I'm fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. Because I'm aggressively using green ink on all these little sprigs of greenery. It's fine.
We're getting a good amount of sunlight now.
Yes, that always is a good thing. Because the lack of sunlight is depressing. Also, same thing with the grip mats. You can have take the backing off. However, I don't obviously ever, because I'm always like moving things around, yada yada yada. You got to be careful with the photopolymer grip mats. If you have a glass, any type of glass mat that you're sticking it to, just be careful, because sometimes these grip mats can be incredibly difficult to remove from glass. Like when it's a large mat, it's like suctioned to the glass, and it can be hard. So that's also why I keep the backing on one side. So it means it slides around a bit, but if I was down the road, I'll probably cut this mat down, this plastic backing. I'll probably cut it down and give myself like a margin so that just the border of the mat can kind of cling a bit. Because I've done that with the ones that I've put inside my Misty and stuff, but It doesn't annoy. It's only when things get to the point where I'm just really, really annoyed, then I do it. Otherwise, I just can't be bothered. So slap on some of this green. I think I'm going to grab another green just to mix things up a bit. I talk about that a lot, but when it comes to greenery, stems and leaves and shrubs and trees and all the things, there's so many, like a bajillion different shades of green. And you always want to mix it up, especially if you're using a variety, to get slightly different looks. So it's not all same, you know? So let's pull in a little bit of artichoke. What did we get? What's the difference between a grip or sticky mat? It just depends. If it's a photopolymer, it's the same thing. Like if it's a photopolymer mat, it's the same. Some will call it a grip mat, some will call it a sticky mat, but if it's photopolymer, it's the same thing. But if it's an actual sticky mat, because Brutus Monroe makes little sticky mats that are really, really thin and they're plastic, and then they have like a light spray of adhesive basically on them. That is different than these, and it has its place, but it's not like the photopolymer. But yeah, if it's made from photopolymer, doesn't matter what they label it, it's the same thing. I just call them grip mats because they're not sticky like an adhesive, but some call it a sticky. We're splitting hairs. Okay, so far, that's what I got. Simple, very simple. And this is dry, so we'll come back to this in 1 second. So this is dry. So then I just have like a dry baby wipe, a tissue works, paper towel, whatever. I'm just going to run this over and it's going to wipe up any of the bits of ink and splattered ink sitting on top of the white heat embossing. Because otherwise, that's going to smear off onto everything else. See a little bit. So I just buff it off. And then everything else stays where it, yeah, see? Everything I'm using is listed and linked in the description box under the video. When it comes to grip mats, like the one I'm using today is from Simon Says Stamp, but I have multiple from various brands. You don't need multiples. You don't. They all work the same. They're all great. I do this as a job, so depending on what brand I'm using, I switch between them, but they all work awesome. I have no complaints about any of the ones I've shown them. I wouldn't show them if they were crappy. I will not promote crappy products, but yeah, they all work fabulously. And there's a bajillion sizes to choose from as well. Literally, there's so many, from little ones. This is like, I think this is 8 inches. Yeah, this is the 8-inch one. 8-inch square, and then Simon just released like a monster size. Like there's so many to choose from, all sorts of options. Okay, this guy's good. And then with this, and it's not going to show up, we'll see how much it shows up on camera. I want to make more texture on this, so to do that we're just going to add water because the inks are water reactive and this is all watercolor paper. So I can just take my fan brush and water, just plain water, nothing crazy, and just start adding splatter to this, which, like I said, it might not fully show up like, on camera, but it will be seen. Oh, actually, maybe I'll show some. We'll see. Just give me a sec. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my background. And if we let it sit for just a little bit, the water droplets start to absorb that ink. Oh yeah, you can see it. You can see it. See? Right there. So that's what I'm going for. That's what I'm going for. So then I can take that piece of paper towel that I was using and I can just pick up a lot of that splattery bits. And now these have way more texture to them. Same with this background. I can just go like that. You won't notice it as much, but same thing. So we got the darker splatter, and then we have the lighter areas where the color, like stuff like that, and like that. That's where the water was. So it just creates, and same like right there, which is gonna get covered up, but add texture. Ink and water. Super simple. So I now need to take all these pieces so they can just fully dry. Because between the ink and the water, they're going to need a bit, which is fine because I have all these other pieces to ink blend. So we'll just throw all these onto the tray and let those dry. Fabulous. We'll set that aside, and then I gotta wipe this guy down, which you can clean this off with just water depending on what you're using. Do not use alcohol, rubbing alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. Don't use solvents on your photopolymer, and that applies to your clear stamps too because it's all the same material, photopolymer. So no alcohol on these. It can wreck the photopolymer over time. Okay, so let's make sure I got all that green ink off there because I didn't get it all off, and I don't want the green to mix in with everything else. So we'll just go like that. Move those out of the way. Just wipe it off with my hands, whatever, Okay. Okay. Now we do the blooms to add some color. So I've got all of my little pieces here from the, what was it called? Pretty Poppies. The Snowbells are technically white, but I want to add a little bit of, just a bit of shading to them, not color, shading. So I pulled out a gray ink for that, just to give them a little something something. My little flower centers. We'll stick those down. And then all the little Snowbell bits, like so. Stick these guys just like that. So that we can give them a little extra something. So, okay. So for these guys, hello, Sean. Flannel ink, just a really light gray ink, and a very light hand. Like, tap off, and then I'm just going to kind of pull that from the top because the top is going to get covered. They're going to get layered together, and then that part goes underneath like that. So I'm just giving it just a hint, like not much. Because that'll give it a little bit of depth. So I'm not worried about the top parts of these being so dark because you're not going to see them. So it's not going to matter. Doop. Doop. There we go. Okay. And then done with that one. Okay. And then for these ones, to bring in a bit more color, I've got, okay, I have that butter ink that I used for the background. I have melon, which is just a little warmer. And then I'll probably bring in a hint of rhubarb just because I really like that color combo, like that peachy pinky color. So slightly different than the last time I used these, but still similar because I can't help myself. So I'll take the lightest shade, which is the butter, and drag that from the top, just like so. And even kind of pull it onto those ones as well. And then I'll go in with the melon shade, which is more of a kind of peachy orange color. And again, I'm not like worried about getting like a smooth blend. Like, I'm just throwing that color on there. Because again, these inks will smooth out on their own. Plus, once I add, splatter water on it, etc., it will just do its thing. It'll do its thing. So we got that. And then we'll add just a little bit of this rhubarb color, which is much more intense. So same thing, I'm going to tap it off in the lid so it's not quite so strong. And then blend that into everything else. So then it gives them just like a very peachy look. Kind of what I was aiming for. Yeah. Yeah. Just kind of throw that in there. A little bit of that.
They look like fuzzy peaches.
They do kind of look like fuzzy peaches. I love fuzzy peaches. Oh, we should have picked those up when we were at the store. Darn it. Anyway. And then I need brown for the flower centers. So just mocha. Nothing crazy. There we go. When you add water, it'll bloom. Yeah, basically. Basically. And that one goes there. Let me get that one out of the way. And then, yeah, mocha for the centers. Just, I need to re-ink my mocha ink pad. I use this one a lot. Get that on there. There we go. Okay, and then same thing. We're going to add splatter to give it texture. So, brush, water, and then, and you can also, I've done it in, and I've shown that in videos, taking the spray bottle, like the distress sprayer, and just holding it up really high, and then splattering it that way. That works too. It doesn't have to be a fan brush. Do whatever works for you. I'll even add splatter to this. It's not really going to show up much, but it's sitting here. Why not? Why not? Why not? Okay. Let's got that. And then, same thing. We'll start with the gray ones. Pick that up. Yeah, it's super subtle on those, but on these, it's really going to show up. Yes. See? Texture. Texture. Simple. Oh, that goes there. That goes there. Okay. So now what we got to do is assemble. Sort of like the Avengers, but for card making. And what else am I doing? I need glue to do that. I was like, my brain just stopped. I'm like, I don't know. What am I doing here? I have no idea. Get that out of the way. And glue. So, get all my little pieces. And for this one, I just use the packaging to give me. So this bloom is this piece and that piece. And a flower center. And then this one is this piece and this piece and this one. But also, does it really matter? Not really. Do whatever works for you. So then those pieces and this one make that bloom. Simple. So I need reverse tweezers, and let's move this out of the way. Reverse tweezers and my little embellishment wand. And then I am going to take a page out of Kathy Zielski's book. She always uses a little piece of, and I don't have a link for this. If I remember, I'll add one later. It's, just wait, it's 1 second. It's this. Here. You can look this up, babe.
Okay.
It's called Media Grip.
Media
You
grip.
can add a link. All right. She always uses a piece of Media Grip when she's gluing things together. And I've had this forever. I always forget to reach for them. But I kind of like the concept of using it as like a glue surface. Also, more so, it's like, oh, if I keep my pieces on here, then I'm not going to lose them. Because even on here, I lose them. So maybe I can start channeling Kathy Z. Look at that. Look at that. See? Look how professional that is. Anyway. So yeah, to adhere these guys, it's super simple. Just little dabs of glue. Just like so. And then stick a little dab right there. Add your little flower center. And then this guy will go there. So this is also why I like to use liquid glue, because I can shimmy this a bit so that this petal won't completely cover up. There we go. So we'll just kind of shimmy them up a tiny bit. And then add a little bit of glue. And then we'll have a pretty little poppy. Look at that. Look how cute that is. Seriously. And then while the glue is still wet, there, I can tuck that guy in even more. Just got a little bloom. There we go. They stand out on the mat. I need to use this more. And this is cut down. The mat comes in like a roll. You get a whole, like a ton. This is a piece I'd cut down forever ago, and then I always forget to use them. Okay, so I got that. I'm not going to add the stems just yet because I'm probably going to cut them. Yeah, we're going to leave the stems off. I'm going to let these like dry. Pinch them closed with my tweezers. And then we'll do the stems when it's time to like assemble the actual like background once I figure out what I'm doing with my life, you know? So we can adhere this guy just like so. And then add another blob of glue. Get that guy like that. And then same thing, see where everything is. Push that up a tiny bit. No, not quite that far. That works. That works. And then yes, the media grip, that was why Tim had Tonic make it for him, is to, like, you can use it to hold your ink pads in place, although I really like my ink stands for that, but you can also use it just to hold die cuts in place. There's also, Tim did a video on the media grip whenever it came, a year or two ago. I don't even remember. And then, yeah, I've got a whole bunch of pieces cut down, and then I always forget about them. But then every time Kathy Zielski pulls it out to, like, glue on, I'm like, that's actually a really good idea. And plus, since it's a little bit grippy, you know, things aren't sliding everywhere. So, and then, yeah, like I said in the other video, specifically using these, having multiple pairs of reverse tweezers. It's one of the few things I actually recommend having more than one of. So many other things we just don't need multiples of. But reverse tweezers come in handy. So that guy, again, while the glue is still wet, I can like look at it. I can shimmy that into place before the glue fully sets. Yeah, I like that. I like that. So then we can adhere this final little bit. Oh yeah, Tim's a genius. Like, the way his mind works is fascinating. Fascinating. Okay, so we got those. And then we need to assemble our little snowbells. So these ones, it's like that piece, and then I don't think it really matters. In fact, I know it doesn't really matter. There's that piece. So got two of those because I did doubles of these. So it's like, I think like that will work. That one. Because yeah, I just don't think it overly matters. Yeah, I don't think it matters. I think we can just adhere whichever ones we want. We can do what we want. Do that. And then, oh, they're stuck to my mat. There we go. Okay. What am I doing here? Do that. And then do that one. Yeah, that looks cute. That one and that one. We're just going to pair them up. I don't think it matters. That. That. Do that one. Do that one. Oh, those two are the same, so we need to mix those ones up. Let's do that and that. Yeah, that works. That one and that one. That one. That one. There. Yeah, those will work. So then they're all kind of different, which will just add, again, more interest. And like I said, you just adhere the two little pieces together, and then that just gets adhered to that. And then you've got a little snowbell. How cute is that? Seriously. Okay. That is ridiculously cute. I love it. I love it so much. So we'll just keep going through. I've really gotten into layering dies. Oh yeah, me too. I've mentioned this before. When they first started becoming a thing, in card making, like layering dies, I wasn't the biggest fan. I struggled with, because I was like, this is boring. Because in my head, it was more the concept of just like you just die cut it from colored cardstock, layer the pieces, and I was like, this is boring. But yeah, now, I love layering dies. So many things you can do with them, and you can cut them apart and make them your own. Use different types of papers, cardstock, watercolor paper, whatever, and then the sky's the limit. I've used alcohol markers, I've used watercolors, inks, sprays, all the things. All the things. Look at these cute, look at how cute. I'm building just a cute little garden. So yeah, layering dies are super fun. Like, yeah. And these ones are super easy, There's some that are super intricate with tons of layers, and even those ones I love too, because it's amazing how much dimension you can build and just how insane some of them get once they're all put together. And I love it. Okay. So we got that one. Layer all those pieces together. They're so cute. This is fun. Am I missing 1, 2, 3, 4? No, I'm not. Oh, well, probably a couple of these can go on other ones, maybe. Yeah. There's like a couple of these probably could have like an extra layer. I don't even care. I'll just do like this then. Or I'll just leave those off because I don't really need them. I don't really need them. Yeah. I'm fine with this. I'm fine with it. But again, options are always a nice thing. So layer those together. Stick them on that little guy. And then the last one. So those I'll just stick over there. I don't need them, don't care. Don't need them, and I don't care. Okay. Last one. Add that. Okay. And then, there we go. Oh, no. Get where you belong. There. There. Now we have a little patch of snowbells. And then we've got our little poppies. Cute. Cute. Okay. So got all our little pieces. Those are all assembled. So I don't need that anymore. I can stick that. I don't know. I'm gonna lose that. I'm gonna lose it. Let's stick that back in its home. Okay. I need this. These are currently out of stock. Just FYI. This was the diddly-diddly-doo. This is the memory box fringe scallop frame set. Isn't that pretty? But yeah, I think because when I was doing the links up before I went live, I think this is out of stock, but they'll get it restocked hopefully ASAP because I just bought this set. I just got it a couple weeks ago, I think. And yeah, don't be surprised if you guys see these in like a bunch of my videos. Okay, so I just die cut this from just white cardstock. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the same colors to it. So I get that out of the way. So I've got the dew, I'd use field, and a little bit of butter. So I'm just going to kind of follow the same put it with your grip mat. No, I'm not going to stick them with my grip mats. I keep them in sleeves, but I'm not going to show that. I know Simon Says Stamp I think sells them like that. I will show it here. I keep my grip mat, like the Tim Holtz ones, in these Simon sleeves that the edges have been cut off. So they cling to one side of these sleeves is like matte and then the other side's clear. So the pieces stick to the clear side. That is also something Tim demonstrated in his video with the grip mat. So that's how I keep all my pieces organized. And I just keep them in the same little basket that I keep my grip mats in their mesh bags. So it works. It works. So I can add just a little bit of ink to this. Not a whole lot. More so just to kind of mimic the colors of the background. You know, just to give it that little extra something. So we'll just blend a little bit of that on there. And then we'll use this color, which again, I'll go in with a light hand. Just kind of blend that on there. It just ties everything in, you know, just ties it all in together. And then we'll take a bit of the field. This one I'm definitely going in with a very light hand because this is a very dark color. So I'm not really pressing much with the brush either to give it that little extra, not extra, to give it a lighter hand. So there, it just gives it a little something. So And then I gotta make sure to wipe that off again before I get my elbow in it. So let's move that out of the way, like that. And then like that. And those colors, because I'm probably going to reuse those to stamp on the inside of the card. So let's keep those separate. I got a pile of stuff. Oh my gosh. Okay. And then this I need to trim down so that it is the size of my card front. Because like I said, it was bigger originally. And I need this to be more, or I need this to be A2 size. So I'm going to take off. Let's go right there. And then right there. So it'll be 5.5 by 4.25. There we go. So there's our background. And then, yeah, see? That'll just give it a little something. It's got that and that. And now we need to start like getting all these where I want them. So we want varying heights. Like that. Like that. And then stick one there. Stick one over here. And one over here. Because I have a sentiment I want to go here. And then we've got this little bit of greenery as well, which I'm probably going to stick. In fact, I am going to stick it rather. So we're just going to build. Chris is very quiet today. Yeah, he's busy eating his snacks. Yeah. Living life.
Definitely living life.
Yeah, I think he's a little zoned out. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I'm watching chat.
Yeah. He's doing his job. It's all good. He's earned his snacks. He's earned them. I'm not mad. Both of us are not in a very like chatty mood today. It just is what it is. Okay. I'm using the background as a visual guide because obviously I'm not adhering this yet because we're going to pop this up, of course, with a little bit of foam tape. But this just gives me a guide as to how much space I have, you know, before I have to start snipping things off, which I don't mind doing. I just don't want to if I can avoid it. But if I need to, that's fine. Okay, so you could also, if liquid glue is not your thing, with die cuts like this, you could back the cardstock first with like double-sided adhesive, you know, like the Altenew double-sided adhesive sheets, etc., to make these basically stickers. I, of course, don't have a problem with liquid glue, but that is an option. But the thing to remember, if you're going to do that with specific like Canson watercolor paper, that makes it very, very thick. So you might have to run it through your die cut machine a couple times to get it to die cut all the way through. That's also why I don't use the double-sided adhesive sheets very often. I use them when I need to, but more so for really finicky, intricate dies, stuff like this. I don't have a problem using liquid glue at all. Okay, so got that one. Kind of this one we're going to bring down a little bit because otherwise he's too tall and I don't want to have to trim off the top part. But trimming off the bottom would be fine. Oh, I might be able to get him to fit. Oh yeah, no, he'll fit. He'll fit. It'll work. It'll work. It'll be fine. Gotta be careful though. Where I'm placing the glue, I probably don't really want it right there. So, make sure I got everything where it needs to be. And only press it down. Right there. Just like that. There's that one. I'll probably put him over there a little more. And then these little guys. Probably going to tuck in Let's maybe put one up here. So if we put one of these up here like this, I'm going to want to snip off just a bit of that. Yes. So I can stick that into place. Add a little bit of glue. And then we can tuck that there. And then that guy will adhere right on it. And then there'll be a cute little flower. Okay. Here we go. Add a bit of glue. Put him on an angle. Just like that. Then, I don't want that one. I want this one. Because then I can stick like that one there. Because then it can all kind of layer a little bit. Stick probably that one. And then if we stick one like that, that'll work. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, we will carry on. I feel like we're out now, Alice in Wonderland. You're late. You're late for a very important date. Do. Okay, let's. All of this, even though I'm gluing everything, you know, I'm not using any foam tape, but because this is watercolor paper, like all these pieces are watercolor paper, everything's got a fair bit of dimension just because of the thickness of the watercolor paper. So I just don't feel the need to add foam bits to any of this. We also have all the greenery pieces too, the extra greenery pieces, which I haven't used. So we need to tuck a few of those in while we're at it. Yes. And all of this will build texture and dimension. Just like so. There we go. Let's got one of those little pieces. Can add that one. And that's the thing with this, because it's all individual pieces, you just add them wherever you feel like it. Wherever you think they're going to look nice. It doesn't really matter. There we go. And then this guy, I want that stem. Yeah, we're going to snip him off right there. Yep. Okay. You see my Valentine? I'm glad it showed up, Kat. Only a little late, but as usual, it's a thought that counts, right? Because no matter what I do, I'm not on time for anything. Like, pretty much every occasion with me, it's like, happy belated Christmas! Or what, and actually that was what happened this year with all the Christmas cards I sent out. Those didn't get sent out till late February. But that wasn't my fault. So, it was nice to have other circumstances to blame for that one. Versus me just being perpetually behind on everything. Because that is my life. Okay, I'm really liking how this is turning out. This is turning out super cute. I'm having fun. Okay. Doodly doodly doo. Okay. So we're gonna just add. Add that little bit of glue. Add a little dollop to that. And then. Oh no, I still want some on. Right along there. And then we can tuck this guy in right there. Just like so. We'll just hold him for a second so that that glue can start to like fuse everything together. That's what I forgot to do at the beginning. I knew there was something. Thank you, Tess, for using my links. But yes, as I say in the beginning of my pre-recorded videos, and I've been trying to get better about doing that in my lives, my links are affiliate links. I make that very clear because it's the right thing to do, and it's openness and just being transparent. And all that means is that if you click on one of my links, in the description box or what the intern pastes for me in the chat, that just means that if you click on one of those links and then end up ordering something, I get a little kickback from that. It doesn't cost you anything extra. There's no hidden fees, nothing. And yeah, I only get something if someone actually orders. So if someone just clicks on the link and then goes on about their day, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't cost anyone anything. So yeah, that's how those work. And then throughout the month, it just adds up. And that's what helps keep the heaters going, which I now feel like I need to turn off, but that's because I'm live and I'm literally just dripping sweat. Because being live, while I like talking to you guys, I like being live. I like doing these live streams, but it's more the fear that I am going to say something highly inappropriate. Yep. Okay. I want to add. Yeah, I kind of like that. I like layering things on top. Like, I like the look of that, which is something I don't do very often. But I like the look of it because that also builds depth. So let's add one right like that. Right like that. Okay. Here we go. I'm hooked on the postage collage cards. Wait till you see next month's release. That's all I'm saying. Nothing more. I'm not saying another word. You didn't hear anything. You didn't hear nothing. And I literally have nothing to show because it's not here yet. But just saying. Just saying. Okay. So we got that little cluster. And technically, we could just leave all this off if we wanted, have the sentiment. I could put this on the inside. Do I want to put it? No, I want to put it on here because that was my plan. I kind of like having the two separate little clusters. I like it. It's cute because then I can put the sentiment right there. So let's just keep doing what I'm doing. I need to squeeze a little more glue under there. Get where you belong. There we go. There we go. Okay. I didn't say nothing. I didn't say anything. Doodly doo. Okay. We're going to stick that guy. Yeah, we're going to stick that guy just like that. So let's get some glue on there. Put some right there. Make sure my background is where it needs to be. And then, yes, there we go. There we go. And then we can add some of these little greenery bits. I missed what were you going on about?
Me?
Oh, do you have the option of turning the heaters down instead of off?
Yeah,
We
I
do, but
know.
it's still really cold outside. We popsicles. Yeah, no, I can turn up both my heaters. I have the big garage heater, the big furnace heater. We can turn that down, and then I have a space heater that I can adjust the temperature on. I'm not gonna mess with it right now. I'm only sweating because I'm live. Like I said, it's just the stress, but I don't like turning it down because literally it'll get very cold in here because it's the garage. It's, it's insulated and all things, but yeah. And while I'm sweating, the unpaid intern's not, and he would turn into a popsicle probably.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, we got that little piece. We're gonna stick like that little guy, and then this one we could probably stick like right there. Where's my sentiment? My sentiment, I prepped, which I hardly ever have. I don't have the brain space or the time most days, but this one is an oldie but goodie. This is the CZ Designs Scripty Hugs. This came out last year. It's not super old, but it's been out for a while. And I die cut it from white cardstock and matte gold cardstock, and then I adhered it onto vellum. So the plan is to it's just gonna work. I love when things just work, So we got that. So I could tuck him in right there. That would look super cute. It would. It very much would. Where's the stem? Okay. Yeah. That will work. In fact, that works kind of perfectly. Love when that happens. Let me snip that off. So we got all these little bits and pieces. So let's run some glue along there. And then I can stick that like that. I know, right? It's like it was all meant to be. It was like I planned this. There we go. Okay. Tuck him under just like that. There we go. There we go. Yes. Yes. I like it. And then we can add this little guy. Like that. And then I can add just a little bit more of the greenery pieces. And then we're done assembling all of this. There we go. Again, just hold that for a second. And I'm just not sure if I want to add another like sub-sentiment strip or not. I haven't fully decided yet. But I can if I want. We'll see. Hold that guy down. So yeah. Isn't that cute? This is fun. Okay. So we got that. We got that. And then, okay, that little piece is being a booger. So stay where you need to stay. Don't want to add any more greenery bits. All these pieces are kind of, oh, I might want to add one right there. Yes. Okay. So I want to add one more because he just kind of fills out that little edge there. So let's stick that. Let's stick that one right like that. There we go. And then yes. So I'm going to pop this onto there with some Big Mama foam tape. Okay. Which, and remember we put, well, thank you, Twyla, for the super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So yeah, last week. We commemorated it, you know? So we'll see how long it takes me to go through a roll. If I can even find, there it is. Because yeah, I use this stuff like a crazy person, but even then, a roll lasts a really long time. And I do make more cards than the average bear. So we'll just see. We'll see how long a roll lasts me. So I'm going to put that on the back of this to give it just a little extra dimension. Not a ton. There we go. There we go. And then we can pop this onto the background. Okay. So then I just gotta eyeball it. Make sure we got clearance. There we go. So we got that. And then we need to add more splatter. You know I'm gonna, of course. You can never have too much splatter, darn it. Which we need this and that. And we need that. And we need... and then we need diddly. Where did I... okay, I got like literally 3 different kinds of splatter. Yeah. What do I do with all these cards? I give away the ones I make during my live stream and I mail them out to the winners. And then a lot of the... ooh, I got ink still on here. It's a good thing I saw that. And then I send a lot of the cards I make to my Patreon supporters. And some of my cards, at times I've sold in a family member's boutique. So yeah. Okay. Let's add splatter. Let's add a little bit of white gouache splatter, just because this is like subtle, but it'll give it that extra that I always personally love. So white gouache, some water to thin it out. There we go. And then add that. And that'll just give everything a little extra something. Yes. Yep. Okay. So that was splatter number 1. Well, actually, no, number 2, technically, because I did the ink splatter on the background. And then the water splatter. So really, if you really want to get technical, this is the 3rd so far. Okay. I missed that. There was something. Diddly. What do you use for white splatter that actually stays white? Honestly, it's going to depend on what you're splattering on top of. The stuff that stays the most white is Copic opaque white. That stuff can get finicky though. It literally will crystallize in the container, which... oh, where's my Copic opaque white? There it is. I don't use this very often. I don't even know. This is really hard to find. You can find it like a little small, tiny jar, which I don't even know where mine went, that has like a little brush applicator in the lid. This I've had. Oh yeah, it did. Ha! See that? It crystallized. Literally, I can show you if I pull this out. It's crystallized. I got it. This is going to take me a second. So, this is an exception to everything. Just FYI. I wouldn't try this with other products. And I don't recommend this. Let's just say that because I don't want people to accidentally work the products. However, I've had this jar for years and years and years, and it's happened before. I went and opened it, and it was all dried out and then like crystallized. I added distilled water to it. I'm not going to do it on camera. It takes a while, but I added distilled water to it, put the lid on, and I let it sit for a really long time. And then I can reconstitute this. I've done it before. And I've only been able to do it with this because there's something about the formula of this. It's weird. But this I have been able to work again. And I'm going to try it again and we'll see. But yeah, it's any normal like white paint. Once it's dried up, you're not going to be able to reconstitute. It's done for. It's dead. Get another one. This stuff's a little more expensive. And for whatever reason, yeah. The last time it crystallized, I was like, because once it's dead, I was like, what have you got to lose? So yeah, if the product is like dried out, try it. See what happens, But this stuff does stay pretty darn white. The reasoning though, like things like white gouache and that, when you splatter on top of something that's water reactive, so these inks, especially like distress inks, distress stains, like spray stains that have a lot of color in them, as the splatter is drying, it's soaking up that color, and that's why it goes a different color. So you can try sealing it first. I don't bother. I don't care. The only times it really, really, really matters to me that I want it is when I'm doing a scene that's supposed to be winter. You want the white splatter because it's supposed to be snow, etc., etc. But yeah, this stuff, it stays really white. It's finicky, and it's hard to find now. So yeah. Um, Usually I just stick with my white gouache, and then I've tried so many different things. So, yeah. Um the white gouache stays pretty white. Again, it depends. If you add too much water to it, it's not going to be as opaque, but for the most part, on top of these inks, it stays pretty white. See? Like it's staying those little white dots are the gouache. So it does. Sometimes, again, it's just going to depend. Certain really intense colors, like if I had done these flowers like really deep, bright pink, that gouache would not probably stay white. It would because it would just start soaking up. It varies, you know. But again, the only time I really am concerned is when I want like it's supposed to be snow, so I don't want the snow coming down like purple. Although that would be fun, you know. Anyway. So I added a bit of the white gouache. I'm going to add some paper splatter, uh, liquid white snowflake, because this is going to give us the shimmery bits. And then, doop. I ordered something. I received it dry. If you receive something dried out, I would contact who you ordered it from. It depends. Certain things, sometimes you can try and add water to, but a lot of depending, like things like paste, that's a whole different story. Sometimes you can get them to work again, but a lot of times once they are dried out, they're done. Like they're dead in the water. There's no coming back from that. They're just everything is evaporated, and even trying to add water or anything back into it, it's just not going to work. Um, so yeah, it just depends. But most of the time, things are not going to come back to life if you add some water to it. And other times, like that Cocoa Pig White, that was just dumb luck. I don't expect it to work again because I've done it before, but who knows? Who knows? So this one's going to add a little bit of shimmer. This one's more subtle, but I'll tilt it in the light at the very end, and it just gives it a little bit of shimmer. And then just to bring in more of the gold, because I use gold for the sentiment, and I have little gold bits, when is it best to use distilled water versus regular water with my supplies? Use distilled water if you're putting it into something where it's going to sit. So if you're adding water to anything, whether it's a paste, trying to reconstitute your paint, my spray bottles, you don't have to add like distilled water. I've talked about this before. I put distilled water in these. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I could use tap water in these. It's fine. The only reason I put distilled water in these, and I've shown that in old live streams and stuff, is over time, because these are just sitting forever. I don't rinse these out. I don't clean them, anything. And the container goes yellow over time with just regular tap water. It doesn't affect anything. It doesn't matter. And I don't care. It just doesn't look pretty. So that's why I just put distilled water in these. So I put them in these. I put them in my little water brushes. Anything that's going to sit for a long period of time, distilled water. But everything else, like my grungy forbidden water for watercoloring and stuff, that's straight up tap water. Do not care, you know? And that's what I was using for splattering because it's going to evaporate. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So, yeah. Yeah. So you're going to add a little bit of gold to this while we're at it. Because as usual, go big or go home. You guys know. You guys know. Okay. Okay, we're good with the splatter. I can back off now. We've done enough. Are you talking about the April or make it? I don't know what you mean. If the video I did earlier, like, or I think earlier in the week or whatever kit I was, the most recent kit, the Simon one is the April kit. The May kit's not available yet. That doesn't come out till next month. Yeah. Yeah, the water the intern keeps wanting to drink. That's the forbidden water.
So forbidden.
It's very forbidden. I keep telling him not to drink it. Just leave the watercolor water alone. It's full of gunk. Anyway. Yes, everything I used, including the glue and the holder. I link to this as well. It's always linked in the supplies because I always get asked. The holder, this I think is still out of stock. They've been out of stock for a while. I think they're waiting on like a big shipment. So these have been out of stock for a while. And the glue is Simon's Craft Tacky glue. That's the same glue I've been using for years. Shimmery. Shimmery. Okay. I think that was... Yep. Yep. Okay. There we go. And then... my sentiment, I gotta be careful because some of the splatter is still wet. Yeah, I don't think I'll add a sub-sentiment to this. I can let this, while I let this dry fully, we can stamp the inside of the card. My card base is gonna be there we go, dupe and dupe. So my card base is gonna be top folding A2 white note card. So 5.5 inches by 4.25 inches. And I am going to, is this long enough? Oh, just use my little piece of Post-it tape right at the score line so I don't get ink past the score line. And then to ink this up, I'm just going to use my blending brushes, which isn't going to look like much on camera, but you'll see it when I press everything in. So I'm just going to use my blending brushes to ink up the stamp. And again, you could do this in a stamp positioner, like stick this in your MISTI, whatever. Again, I'm not too worried about it. I don't need to be perfect. I don't plan on stamping it more than once because this is just going to go on the inside to give that bit of texture. So I'll use the butter ink and then I can go in with this shade and the blending brush. And same thing, just kind of tap it onto the stamp, really. And because I didn't clean this stamp, the stamp still has the clear embossing ink on it, which is actually kind of a good thing because that's going to pick up more of this ink. So right now it looks like I'm doing nothing on camera, but there's a method to the madness, okay? Or there should be. There should be. Okay, we got that. And then I can go in with the field ink. Good enough. Good enough. So I can use that. And then I have a scrap piece of paper to keep me from getting ink all over myself. And then just press that in real good. There we go. See? You can do that just for your card front, you know? That does not need to be just on the inside of your card, but that's a way to get, look at all that texture I got. That's so fun. It's so fun. Love it. Okay, and then I stick my trusty piece of post tape to the top of my die cut machine because I reuse that until there's nothing left of it. Also, the unpaid intern did this. I don't even know if you guys...
Did what?
Can you see it?
The printer wasn't working.
No, we were having printer issues, and then all of a sudden the printer just starts printing these random little... How did you even draw that?
In MS Paint?
You used MS Paint? That's what I thought. And I'm like, I go to pull it, and I was like, what is this? And even, I was like, it's our initials. Yeah. Anyway. Yep.
Nonetheless, the printer is working.
Yeah, the printer's working, thankfully, because good. No, I hate printers. Okay, so we got that. I was going to stamp a sentiment from... Yeah, I was going to stamp a sentiment from this CZ Design Thank You Basics set. I love this. So I want to stamp that onto the inside. For this, I will use my Misty because better to be safe than sorry. Okay. Boop, boop, diddly. Okay. Yeah, no, the glue press, it's out of stock. Like everywhere. People have been just recently, I have been getting emails about it asking if I knew where, and I was like, it's out of stock pretty much everywhere. I will post a heads up on my social media when it comes. I have no idea. I haven't heard when, like, I know they are probably in the process, you know, restocking it. I just, who knows how long it'll take, that, you know, all the things. But yeah, I can post a heads up once I know. Once I get an, and with specifically with Simon Says Stamp, there is an option on the product listing. There's a button that you can click that says notify me when back in stock. And you can click that, put in your email, and then you'll get an email. That works too. That works. So let's center that. Yep. And then I'm just going to stamp this with that same mocha ink that I used on the flower centers. I was going to use black ink, but why? Why bother? So let's add the sentiment. And I'll probably stamp this twice just to get, yeah, better coverage. So let's ink this up with the mocha ink. Boop. Love it. Love it. So let's wipe that off. Put that back in the package before I forget. Do you embroider die cuts? I've not seen any stitching die releases lately. I have not done that in forever. I know Nicole Spohr has done a couple releases with spellbinders of stitching dies, but hers are more, you can do it on paper, but hers are more meant for die cutting like felt and then making little like critter. It's, her stuff, it's super cute. I was eyeing it up. She did a fall, like winter release, and then she more recently had another one with like, I think there was like a bunny and a carrot, you know, things like that. Adorable. Adorable. Love it. I haven't done stuff like that in forever. But it's tempting. It's tempting. Okay. There we go. There we go. And thank you, Belinda. I appreciate it. Okay, so that's going to be the inside. This is now dry, so we can adhere the card front to the card base. Just using my craft tacky glue. Like so. There. And then, okay, making sure I'm adhering it to the right spot. Because that would suck. Okay. And that's also why I like using craft tacky glue, because it gives me wiggle room to make sure I got everything lined up. Just like that. Yep. And then I can stick some of my magnets on things to hold everything sort of in place. There we go. And then my sentiment is going to go there. I was going to add a butterfly, but now I don't know if I will, because I don't know if that'll just be too much. I was gonna. I still might be able to make him work. Do we need the butterfly? No, we don't need him. But he's really pretty. And I wanted to add him. I die cut him from... Let me go through the pile of stuff. Let me put those back in place so the glue can dry. This is an oldie but goodie. This is the Adeline butterfly. This came out like 7 years ago. Yeah, 7 years ago. It's old. And I die cut the wings from Simon's Shimmer vellum. So it's got some shimmer to it. And then the body I had die cut from the matte gold cardstock. So, yeah. Again, do I need to add it? Not really. But it's pretty. And then I had die cut a second one to put on the inside. Just because I can. So I think we'll still tuck the butterfly in just because, you know, he's already done, basically, and ready to go. He's just so cute. So let's, like, look at, oh, let me get that little bit of glue off there. See? Look how pretty he is. And then, oh, I'll do that to this one too. Because, yeah, we can stick one on the outside. And then I can glue one on the inside just for funsies. Okay. So glue that body in place. Just about glued my card shut because, you know, that happens. It happens. Make sure everything's adhered. And then see, you can just have a little extra butterfly on the inside. Yeah, I want to stick them right there. So I'll add just a smidge of glue right behind the body so that you can't see the glue through the vellum. Just like that. And then we can do the same thing. I'm just like piling everything onto this card. I don't care. I don't care. It's cute. We'll just tuck him in. Tuck his body right under there. Why not? Why not? You know? It works. Enough. You know? You know? It's just so cute. And then I can adhere my sentiment. And I think once I do that, do I want to add any bling? I don't really need to. Good lord. In fact, I'm going to skip. I was going to add bling to this too, but I think I've already finished adding everything but the kitchen sink. So while I do the sentiment, the intern can pick a winner.
Pick a winner.
Yeah.
Chicken dinner.
Yeah. You have been quiet today. I guess I haven't been talking to you either.
You've been doing your thing.
I have been. I've just been like in the zone. It happens. It's all good. Okay. I'm gonna pop that sentiment into place. Make sure he's straight. Yeah. Okay. Do. Oh yeah, you do need shimmer vellum. I love shimmer vellum. I didn't use shimmer vellum. Here, get those out of the way. I didn't use shimmer vellum. I could have, but I rarely use it with sentiments. And I purposely didn't use it for this one because I wanted, if I was going to use butterfly, which I did. Yeah, so plain vellum on him. And see, that's like plain vellum, just gives it that little, you know, and then that's got the shimmer. So yeah, do I want to add the other butterflies? I wasn't going to add any bling, but I'm going to add them. I don't care. You can't tell me what to do. I am going to use, I already had them linked. This is another oldie but goodie favorite that I've used in a million videos. I love this die set. It is one of my favorites. And this is another one that came out forever ago. Yeah, like 7 years ago, the Flickering Butterflies. Love this die set. Again, have used it so many times, I couldn't even tell you. So, all the pieces are stuck in it. I don't care. You just gotta give it a good whack on your work surface, and it pops most of them out. So you could skip the big one and just do the little ones. That would look cute too. I just when I was digging through my stash and looking at all the things, I came across that Adeline butterfly, and I was like, ooh, I need to use that. I had a stack of like 5 different butterfly die sets, and I was like, narrowing it down to just a couple was not easy. So yeah, this little wafer die is an all-time favorite of mine. I just love it. Look at this. And the shape also, that's also why it's like very similar, the little butterfly, to this one. It's like the little babies. So we're gonna tuck a few of these guys in. Why not? Because again, it's my channel. I can do what I want. I can do what I want. So we'll just stick. They're so cute. Let me get these magnets out of the way before I lose my mind. Okay. Just. Okay. Much better. I got some space here. Okay. We'll add just a few. No. I'll do a big one there. Ooh, I can tuck. Where's mine? There. I can tuck a big one kind of underneath so it's not quite so obvious. So it doesn't look as busy. Let that guy do its thing. So you can stick him like right there. Just like that. And this guy's being ornery. Pick him up. Yes. And then we need one little tiny one. We can stick him right there. Right there. I'm not my supervisor from Archer. I've only seen a few episodes of Archer. But I kind of know what you're referring to. Okay. Let me tuck that little guy like that. And then maybe one right there. It's just like it's meant to be. Okay. Okay. And then I always keep, if I do have any left over, which usually I don't because I use them all, I just stick it in the packaging. Because then the next time I pull it out, I've got like, I have a bunch. There's like a little pile. And all from like shimmery vellums, gold cardstock, glitter, you know. Look at that pretty little pile of butterflies. I just keep it in there, so I'll just add these ones to it. And then the next time I go to use it, I've got all these random little butterfly die cuts. And he's good to go. And then, yeah, we just got to let that glue dry. And this card is going to be complete. So, yeah, I piled a ton on, but, you know, I think it works. I think it works. It's a little scene. And we got shimmer. Shimmery vellum butterflies and shimmery splatter and super simple watercolor. All that texture. How many types of splatter did I do? I did ink splatter. Ooh, there's an extra butterfly. I did ink splatter, water splatter, white gouache splatter, liquid white snowflake splatter, and gold splatter. So 5 kinds of splatter. Look, man.
You didn't go over
Stop
that.
laughing at me. I was thinking about doing black splatter too. I'm not gonna. This card is done, but I could. I could if I wanted to, okay? But I'm not gonna. So yeah, 5 types of splatter. Everything but the kitchen sink, man. You guys know I don't do clean and simple very often. It's hard for me. This is my type of jam. And then the pretty. I love how this turned out. And you could do this with any background stamp, but this background stamp I can see myself using more. I'm gonna have to do this more often. I love how textured and uneven and I love it. Love it. So fun. This was a lot of fun. There we go. There we go. Oh, can you click on the glue press? Maybe they did get it back in stock. That would be awesome if it is back in stock. Oh, who'd have thunk? It's your lucky day, folks. This is in stock. No idea how many they has, but he'll post the link in the chat. It was already linked anyway, but the glue press is in stock at Simon Says Stamp. I didn't have it on my notification list because I was going to do that after the video. But yeah, it's in stock. Wonderful. Love it. I did a video for those that are completely like have no idea or whatever. I did a review of this over a year ago. It's on my YouTube channel. If you search my channel for the precision glue press, I did a dedicated video just explaining my thoughts of it, and obviously I like it because I wouldn't be using it otherwise. So yeah, if you're curious and you've never seen it, I go in depth in that video about all the things. So yeah, it's in stock. That's awesome. That's cool. Okay, and then there we go. There we go. Okay, who am I going to send this card to?
The winner this week is Dawn from California.
Okay, Dawn in California.
Yep. I
will mail this out hopefully this week. I make no promises, like I always say with my live streams. I do get them mailed out eventually. I especially make no promises because we got a lot going on this week. Like, a lot. So, I just am not sure if I'm going to get to the post office this week. And I haven't mailed out the last couple winners either, but they're set aside. It will get mailed out eventually. It will. And yeah, this turned out super fun. I really piled it on and I had fun doing it. Oh my goodness. This was fun. And yes. Yeah, Laura. Oh, thanks to the unpaid, the
hand of the unpaid intern.
The hand of the unpaid intern for helping. And yeah, I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. This was fun. And like I always do, I'll take the photos and do the blog post and the social medias and all the things. And then, as always, just stay tuned because I do, even though we got a lot going on this coming week, just a lot on our plates. I do have videos coming this week. I'm in a couple of different hops this week, like 3, I think. I gotta double check. I gotta check my plan. I keep saying I need an assistant, like an actual proper assistant, not just the unpaid intern. He helps a lot, but he can't help out with everything. And I am a disorganized mess, y'all. I am a disorganized mess. Thank you, Twilight. You didn't need to do that. Thank you. I appreciate it. M&M's for Chris. Yeah, I will specifically earmark and get him more snacks. I think he's out of M&M's, so I need to get him more anyway. So yeah. Oh my goodness. It's so beautiful. I don't know how you can part with it. Honestly, I don't mind. I don't mind. I enjoy sending out my cards, even though I really do like how this one turned out. This is one where I would put this on display. I would display it. I keep some of my cards. There's a few that I keep like there's that one. I can show it. I made this one. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before. This was a 5x7 card. I don't make 5x7 cards very often, but yeah, I made this one and it's all sparkly. And this has been on my channel. Yeah, it was either last year or the year before. And this one I just kept because I was like, ooh, it goes with all my rainbow decor, you know? So, yeah. Ooh, you stay where you belong. So, yeah, I keep some of those. I keep some of my cards for display purposes only. And then the rest I send out. So, appreciate all you guys hanging out with me today. And then, I think I caught up with everything. Oh, is it hard to use different glue in the glue press? Skinny bottle? You can't use other bottles. Again, just search my channel, and check out my review. I explain all of that. It's all explained in there, and I take Simon's glue and I put it in the bottle that comes with the glue press, because you get a bottle of glue and then an empty bottle. And because I just prefer the Craft Tacky glue, that's just what I like to use. I just refill it and it works for me. So I explain all that though in that specific overview, review, whatever I called it. But yeah, it was like, I think it's titled like product review, precision glue press, something like that. So yeah, if you just search my channel, it'll be on. In fact, I can do it myself. I have more than one screen. Give me 1 second. I can find it and actually link directly to it for you. Here we go. There we go. If I go like that, if I copy that, and then I can post it in the chat. There you go. There's a link to it. I just posted it in the chat because the unpaid intern's gone. Once he waves, he's out. He's moving on with his day. So yeah, and I'll add it to the for those watching on replay. I keep the chat on the replay as well, but I'll add it to the description. Precision glue press review video. There we go. So it's also now. Oh, it says my video. Oh crap. Oh, I can delete this. Never mind. I can make this work. Dupe. There we go. Okay, it's also below the video in the description. So that works. That works. So that way, yeah. You can check that out. I explain all my thought process and pros and cons, and yeah, for me personally, I love it. But yeah, it doesn't work for everybody. I mean, it doesn't, some people have an issue. It depends. For me, honestly, it really has been a game changer. I found that, and I don't have them, but I found I was having issues for me with the little tiny bottles of glue that we were all using, the little tiny ones, even though they're really easy to squeeze. The ones with the fine tip, I was finding that because I do this as a job, I was finding that with that bottle as well as like larger bottles, that just that act of squeezing like this, with those little tiny bottles, my hands at the end of the day would just ache. Like, I have arthritis runs deep in my family, and oh, it was just painful. And so then when this came on the market, I ordered it, and for me, it was a game changer. Like, I love it. I love it. The only thing I don't like the color. But and I say that in the review video too. So, yeah, for me, um, it works awesome. Like, it has saved my hands, and mine clogs. I never put the lid on it. Mine clogs always, and I don't care. I keep pins off to the side, even with the little. There's a little rubber stopper thingy that you need to make sure it's docked. Again, I explain all that in the video. Even though I keep mine docked proper all the time, mine clogs all the time, and I don't care. It doesn't phase me because all my glues, every single glue, every single applicator that I've used clogs on me. Most of the time because I'm too lazy to put lids on things. It's true. So I keep a little pin cushion. I was sent this years ago. I've shown this. I have this little pin cushion that Evelyn made for me, and it's got coffee beans in it, and you can actually, I can still smell them. This is like 8 years. I forget how many years ago she sent this to me. Isn't he cute? But yeah, I keep pins. I even have one of those fancy, and mine is bent. This was sent to me by, oh, Picket Fence. Picket Fence Studios sent me this one, but it's meant for like, for those fancy little glue bottles to stick in there, but I just keep it in there. But yeah, I keep pins in my, get in there. This one, because this doesn't have it there. So I keep pins in here, and I just use that to unclog my glue, and I move on about my day. You know, it just is what it is. So, yeah. Yours never. Yeah, it depend. It can depend on so many factors. The brand of glue you're using, the climate, so many things. So many things. My glues, it's dry here. I don't put lids on things half the time. And my glues clog. They have since the get-go, and it's been over 20 years, and I've got my pin cushion and my pin, and I just unclog it, move on. And then it's fine. It just doesn't faze me, you know? So yeah. Okay. Okay. So yeah. There's some things, that I'm willing to go the extra. It's not even a mile. It's a foot. The extra foot for, grab my little pin, unclog my glue. It doesn't faze me, it would probably annoy me if I didn't have pins, a way to unclog it immediately. Then I guess I could see myself getting really frustrated. But I've had that pin cushion, and I've kept pins on hand, like on my work surface, since the beginning. So. Is there a glue to keep your glasses from sliding to your nose? Thanks. No. Because, even that, I could put super glue on here, maybe put super glue on the ears and keep it from sliding. She meant that in jest after once. She was being sarcastic, just so we're clear. Because I mentioned that in a recent video, because I get grief from people about my glasses sliding down my face all the time. My glasses, just again, disclaimer, my glasses are professionally adjusted by my optometrist. They are adjusted to fit me. I cannot get them put any tighter. My last pair, I did that because people kept complaining so much about me constantly. I have very oily skin. And if these get any tighter, they literally rub the skin off the back of my ears. I used to have to wrap my glasses with pieces of a Swiffer cloth to protect my ears, to keep them on. And, and I don't have time. I don't have time for that. Don't have time for that. So my glasses are always going to slide. And it's just the cross that I have to bear. It really is. It is what it is. So yeah. Doodly-doo. I think, oh yeah, if it's humid, your glues probably won't clog as much. Between it's just a dry climate in here, and then my my space heaters and everything, Nerd Wax. I've heard of it. I'm not going to add anything else. It does not bother me. I'm so used to it. My glasses are just, they're going to slide. And the later in the day it gets and the oilier my skin gets, they're just like, you know, just as, and when I'm filming intros, because that's when people get really annoyed because it's in my intros, they're usually filmed very late at night. The very end of the day, it is late. Everyone else is in bed. My skin is an oil slick, and my glasses are like, as I'm talking to everyone, they're just like, you know. So I'm like, hi. I don't care. I don't care. It is what it is. So, doodly doo. It just is. I got tired of having to repeat myself over and over again. You know, my glasses are fine. They fit perfect. It's just my skin is oily. And I don't wear makeup hardly ever because like I just don't care. I don't care. You know? It is what it is. So, anyway. Yeah, mine are always sliding all over. They're not going to slide off. They can't. That's as far as they can go on me because they're adjusted. But they're going to slide because it just is. It just is. And yeah, I'm not going to use like other products because it just builds up on my skin and my. It just is. It just is. So yeah, apologies to those that, you know, have to experience me constantly. They're not, it is what it is. It is what it is. So anyway, I appreciate all y'all. And yeah, I like hanging out with you guys and answering questions. I make no promise. I say this every Sunday. I might be able to do a bonus live stream or two. Might be able to squeeze one out this week. But again, I make no promises because we've got a lot on our plates in our real lives. And I'm just not sure, so I'm not going to make a promise. I have no idea when. I'll try to give everyone like a heads up on my social medias ahead of time, like give everyone like a half hour notification sort of a thing. Because I'd like to, but I'm just not sure if I'll be able to. So we'll just see what happens. And then I'll have pre-recorded videos. I have, like I said, several coming this week. Because then there's new products and other, you know, oldie but goodie favorites that I've pulled out. So many things. So many good things. Not enough time. If I could clone myself, that would probably be sort of great, but also bad for humanity. You know, I cause enough chaos just on my own. But we'll see. I like doing the lives. They're fun. But I will never stop doing my pre-recorded videos. You know, keep it short and sweet. Shorter. You know, they're not as long as this. And yeah, everything else is good. I don't have any other housekeeping. No. Appreciate you guys. And we already drew for it. We drew, that was like 20 minutes ago or whenever it was. I forget. I've been talking for a while. He always we draw the card winner near the end. I say end loosely because we draw it basically when I'm done making the card on a live stream is when I have him draw the winner. So that gives everyone the length of the live stream to enter the giveaway. And then once he's done that, his work is over and he's out and he's gone. So yeah, I'll keep giving them away. When I do the ones with like my Sunday live streams, I give the card away. When I do bonus live streams, I don't often give the card away, more so because that's just, I can only multitask so much. But I do have plans to maybe, if people are interested, I can do a separate, like, get a little stack of cards together and just do a giveaway and mail them out to people. Because why not? It's always fun to get a little happy mail. You know, get a card in the mail that's not a bill or a flyer or just, you know, stupid crap. So it's been in the back of my mind. Just add it to the to-do list. Yes and yes. Yeah. The world doesn't need two of me. One is more than enough, you know? I cause enough chaos. But, oh, no sorries. That's, yeah, everything is good. And I hope you all have a wonderful week. And I will talk to all of you in an upcoming video, or I'll see y'all next Sunday, whenever you decide to tune in. I'm always here, you know, causing chaos. And I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in joining my Patreon community and supporting me, the link to my Patreon is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't, I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye!